Yeah, I do, Paul. It's just nice to be in a rink. You know, you're in an office and looking at a computer for the last few months, talking in hypotheticals, and so really nice to be able to engage. So I'm very excited to get the process going. I mean, you know, the process is something that's exciting for me because there's certainties from coaching over the years, obviously, but then you're welcoming the unknowns. I mean, those are the opportunities to evolve as a team and develop as a team. So that excites me.
You've said in the past you don't like drama. How do you sort of make sure that the situation involving Jack does not become a distraction for this group, and while you're trying to create a culture in that room?
Yeah, I don't think it's a distraction at all. I mean, you're talking, when you think of hockey players and athletes, you know, they hit predator mode kind of. You're just so engaged in you know, the competition puts you in the moment, so you don't have time. And you know, on the coaching side, I'd like to think we're demanding enough that they don't have any opportunity. Like even our meeting right now, it's demanding. Like we demand things right now and to get done today in practice or attention here. So you know, there's enough for them to focus on, and certainly there'll be enough when the puck drops to focus on that. You know, a lot of the stuff outside of that, it would be a distraction, absolutely. But you know, I believe we have also the personal makeup in that room. That's why I'm excited to be back, because you've got guys that are very driven, and a driven person is always in the moment, and that other stuff doesn't affect them as much. So.
If it's not a distraction, I mean, one thing that strikes me is the GM had to address it yesterday that the captain is no longer the captain. You're going to get asked about it all over the place, every road trip. Players are going to get asked about it. How can it not be a distraction when you're going to just keep hearing about it for as long as Jack is still technically on the clock?
Well, while we keep hearing about it, you know, I walk out and I'm going to be thinking about the practice and the next, and I've got 20 some guys to think about, 50 some guys to think about now. So you're so busy, Mike, that yeah, I can come in here and we'll talk about Jack, and it's appropriate in here to talk about Jack. But when we walk out there, there's so much to do that it just doesn't become a distraction. You know, Jack, to me I got very close with Jack. I coached him when he was 16 years old, and I'm very happy that I did have an opportunity to coach him. I felt that was a great opportunity for me, even as a coach, and then to be here with him. I mean, this is tough for Jack. I mean, what I think is lost in this is you know, this is a guy that wants to play hockey that's going through an injury. I have a lot of compassion for that. You know, and again, I've watched him do some pretty spectacular things. But again, we're in a situation where he clearly, because of what's going on here, has to just focus on that as well. And I'm excited, you know, when he does return, to see him, you know, even if we're talking about the captaincy, like he doesn't need that. You know, I can tell you here, he was great. He was a great captain here. Now he's gone through this. It's tough to be that when you're not present and you're dealing with what he's dealing with. So I think in fairness to him, it's a healthy situation. He just focused on himself, and I think that alleviates a burden that he takes very seriously. Let's not forget that. I can tell you he is very serious about that captaincy and was here. And that's a lot of work. That's a lot of extra work. So, you know, for him, I just want to see him get healthy and eventually play, and not even have that burden right now, so we can get back to that.
What gives you confidence that these young guys can fill in leadership voids this season?
Well, these guys have qualities of taking initiative and being determined. So, you know, those are really strong attributes that are signs of, you know, capacity to be leaders or become leaders. Not afraid to take initiative, and in the face of, you know, mishaps, determined. Get right back up and go right back at it. Those are really strong leadership components. So, you know, I don't see any need to appoint anybody to that position. We're an evolving team. We have a lot of evolving players, but those components are very exciting. you know, that determination and that initiative taking that we have in several guys. I mean, you see it when you watch them play.
Getting the job is obviously the first step. Building a staff, building a game plan, or the next one. How does those processes go through?
I'm happy, very happy, you know, with the processes that transpired with me and our staff, and but I always say never content. You know, we still have a lot of work to do. You know, we had some good things from last season that we can build on, but we know we have to build. I mean, you know, we were, you know, in my estimation, we were, you know, we were okay, and you know, now we've got to make sure we're better each day, and I think we have the staff and players to do that. I mean, our focus isn't going to change. We need to get better every day, and you know, we need to find out how good we can be, because it's potential. It's not actual yet.
Don, as well as this group gelled to close last season, you lose Ristolainen, you lose Reinhardt, and Jack's not there. What is your expectation level, given the fact that you might have talent on this roster, but there's a disparity in proven talent when going against your opponents?
I think that's fair to say in the form of experience, but other teams will definitely hold an edge and experience on us. So what might be our edge? Effort, extra effort, second effort, higher compete level. So, you know, we have to find ways to compensate, but I will not say and even dare think that there's not a way to win a game each night. And we have to approach it that way. But we also, it's important for me to be fearless. You know, we can't sit back. We can't step back. You know, you're not going to learn being conservative. I'm okay with mistakes as long as, because, you know, those mistakes, you know, you watch a game this fast, discretion is a huge part of it. You know, older players have better discretion. You know, they know I can go, I can't go. And even if we think of what comes to mind here is you know, Rasmus Dahlin, and even last year, he was, you know, sometimes hesitant to go because, geez, I might make the mistake. Well, how's he ever going to learn, you know, the discretion that's necessary? And unfortunately, in life, a lot of gaining experience is from negative experience, or, I mean, if we just think about ourselves. So same on the ice. So we need to develop fast. We can't develop as fast as we want to, being conservative. So we're going to go at our opponent when we can. We're going to have discipline and structure underneath our game, but we want to play with a high pace and high tempo. And you know what happens in that game, we have to take as a coach, John, and say, okay, these are the next areas to target. But if we back up and stand back, we don't know what the next area is to target. So we want to be aggressive. Obviously, we want to play like the game. I've said it plenty of times. It's a passionate sport. We want to play that way.
Do you have to do more teaching in this camp than maybe you would if you had a veteran team?
I'm not going to do more teaching. No, I don't really believe you need to do more teaching. I really believe the experience. These guys need experience. They don't. I'm going to push them. I'm going to demand that they go hard and demand that they compete. But I want them engaged in learning from the guy across from them more than from me. You know, it's pretty simple in that regard. So I hope I don't have to do a lot of teaching. Obviously, as coaching, you're steering guys in different directions, but I don't like to think of it as teaching. It's so different than developing teaching. You know, teaching is telling them what to do. Developing them is having them do it and pushing them to do it. So we take that approach.
Don, there's a lot of obviously negative history around this organization in recent times. You just said you want these players to be fearless. How do you avoid the weight of all that negative history impacting these guys when, you know, that's going to be around all year, and it's going to be around essentially until whatever year you can turn it around?
Absolutely, and you just embrace the challenge. I mean, I love the challenge, because if we can turn it around, the excitement on the other end is even greater because of that. And you have to thrive on those challenges. I spoke yesterday, and I didn't have a long, lengthy message with the team, but it was just the best players, the best athletes, the best teams are in the moment. They're not worried about yesterday. They're not worried about tomorrow. They're not worried about the other team. They're in the moment. And that's a challenge for us, obviously, for the things you mentioned, Mike, because of all that around. it's just, you know, some people say it's the privilege of being in, you know, a sport or a situation where people follow you. I guess it is, but you know, we need to embrace it, attack it. So.
And what did you learn about being in the moment in Chicago? Because obviously that was a team that was used to winning, and they expected to win. They didn't hope to win.
Yeah, and you know, there was a lot of familiarity when I went to, because I was in Chicago the 2 years before I was here, and that was after they won cups. And they won 3 cups, but they were in the same position as here. They were searching how are we going to win again, and obviously they're still in that mode like 31 other teams now, and in some respects it was harder for them because they just won, and do we let go of this, and so it's not easy even when you do win, because you know, and we know in sports every day you start from zero. So if you think you earned something the day before, your opponent's going to show you that you didn't. And it's getting up and getting in that, accepting that, and that's what competitive people, and you know, that's why we want competitive people.
Don, in your history, like the Sabres in the past, teams, the rosters were criticized for being assembled, for having players assembled for different coaches, one to fit this guy's style, one to fit that guy's style. Is it easier in your, maybe not easier, but is it easier maybe to start fresh with a group of youngsters in which they can learn your system, where you don't have a lot of carryover of other guys who have gone through one system after another?
I think the natural, if we look at that in the general, the answer is probably yes. But I will say, John, last year, Eric Stahl was amazing. Sammy Reinhart was amazing. Ristolainen, Rasmus, they were amazing for me as a coach, because we did implement a lot of changes and they embraced it. And even when we were putting this team together this summer, we thought we considered, we don't want players to come in and bump a young guy out of the experience. We need him, but we do need some of that, you know, veteran experience that's been in the league. So we're very cognizant of that. But there's lots of really good people that in this league that are great hockey players that embrace what you said. And then there's some, you know, historically, you know, teams I've coached, it is hard. It's hard when the older guy gets set in his ways. But I commend the guys we had last year, because they're set in their ways, but they certainly have a routine, but they were on board when we finished the year.
Understanding that this is what training camp and preseason games are for, who is your number 1 center?
Yeah, that's a great question. Yeah, you keep asking that one, because I don't have an answer for you. I don't even think it's fair. I mean, how do you know, it could be different each day. I don't really look at it as a number 1 center. I could probably say number 1, 2, and 3, but each and every night there's so much discrepancy within a game. You know, energy levels, is one guy playing with a nagging injury, and I don't like pecking orders. We don't need a pecking order right now. Everybody's valuable. And the minute you think that everybody's not valuable and you start dividing them 1, 2, 3, it doesn't work for me. So, but I don't think we have a definitive guy to answer your question that is so far ahead of somebody else that we would designate him as a first-line center.
I know you're not going to rank them, but who else do you see competing for a spot down the middle behind?
Yeah.
Behind or alongside?
So.
Casey and Dylan?
So we do, you know, we have to be somewhat creative there. We were last year with Sammy Reinhart. So what you'll see out there today is, you know, Cousins and Middlestead will be at center. Gergenson's going to be at center. Rutsalainen will be at center. And those are guys, and obviously Cody Eakin's back. He was a center. But Rutsalainen played wing for us, and obviously Gergenson's played a long time at wing. He did play a bit at center years ago, as you guys probably know, better than I. And we'll evaluate. That's all we can do.
As far as we talk about definitive and evaluations, you have 4 goalies in camp with NHL experience. There seems to be kind of no clear number 1 right now. Maybe it's Craig Anderson. I mean, how do you plan to evaluate that when you have 4 guys and however 6 preseason games and so forth?
Yeah, the veteran guys will get more of a look to get themselves in condition level and shape and, you know, rhythm, and then we'll just evaluate it. I don't have an answer for you other than yes, we'll be watching that very close to see where they're at. And the other part of it, I don't like to get my brain there because we all know how fast things can change. I mean, we were at our 6th goalie last year or more, so you don't want to get, convince yourself we have, this is our team. We know our team is changing and evolving every day. We have to stay in that mindset as well as a coach or coaches.
Don, I think a number of us were impressed with how Dylan Cousins spoke to the media and was forthright to the media in his exit, in his postseason interview. What did you make of his maturity level as a rookie last year? And what does he have to work on, and what does he have to work on to continue that into the season? Because he seems like a very mature guy. He strikes me as a very mature guy.
Yeah, I don't know that he has to work on anything. I think he just needs to do what he does and keep competing, keep working. I guess working to learn. He wants to watch film. He wants feedback, positive or what others might seem negative. He doesn't see it as negative. He sees it as a way to improve, and he has that component of being extremely, if not ultra competitive. We love that, and that's what the game is about. So he's going to keep evolving. I think the biggest challenge with Dylan, and when you have players like that, is frustration. He gets frustrated, and when he gets frustrated, he wants it so darn bad that a lot of times that's where his mistakes come from, almost trying too hard. And again, that'll come with experience to maybe find a moment of calm. So if there's anything specific that jumps to mind, it's kind of that intangible. We all talk about our lack of experience. Those are things that come naturally at a different pace, maybe.
Were you worried at all that Dolly might miss some camp? I mean, he's going to be here tomorrow, so only
Yeah.
one day.
Yeah.
If he would have missed some camp, would that
Yeah.
be a problem?
Yeah, it's funny you mentioned the word worry. I don't worry about anything. I mean, there's too much work. So no. I mean, did I want him here? Absolutely. But again, that would be like worrying, who might we be missing on game 12? I mean, just, the camp's important for him. I don't mean to diminish that. It's important for him to get here. I think, to get a deal done, Kevin did a great job. The agents did a great job thinking and making sure that Rasmus was in a good place. So I think both parties there did a really good job to get him here. And I think that was important for him, as far as us and worry about it, no. But I do love him. There's no question.
He is quiet,
Yeah.
but he's been here 3 years now. Do you see him starting to develop leadership qualities that he can bring?
He's a quiet leader. Yeah, he definitely is. I think you'll see a different level of competitiveness in him. He's a type of player that wants to do things right, very respectful of coaches and coaching and people. And when you have an athlete like that, sometimes they're so respectful. They want to make sure you're happy with what they did. And that's, I have a lot of respect for Dolls now. He cares about his team and teammates. We pushed him last year. I'm not even going to give you feedback, Dolls. Go back on the ice and play. You can do it. You got the answers. Because he initially was, what do I want as a coach? And I just want him to play and compete. We can tweak things from there. And I think he embraced that, and I think that's going to be a big part of his play this year. I'm okay with mistakes that Dells makes. Just make him going hard, and then we can correct him way easier than if he sits back.
Ristolainen and Reinhart and McKay were here for a while. With those guys gone, are you curious to see if that maybe makes younger guys more comfortable to step into sort of a leadership role, whether that be vocal or
Yeah.
in other ways?
Yeah, those guys made Mitzi and Cousins and Aspie and everybody more comfortable last year. Just their presence was great. Okposo's incredible when it comes to that, empowering people around him and wanting to see them step up. So yeah, I'm excited to see that and see it evolve, definitely.
As far as Zungus goes, have you sensed any excitement for him just that he's back after a lost season like this?
Yeah, he's excited, but his Zemgus is just straight line, So you can sense the excitement, but he's not, he's very businesslike, and so he's not too high, not too low, ever.
Don, you brought out a lot of guys after the coaching change last
I fully believe Jeff was engaged more, and I watched a lot of film this summer, and I was happy with what I saw in Jeff. It was a progression. I thought he got better each and every game. I talked to Jeff about the style we want to play and how it fits the style he likes to play. I think it does. I believe it does from what I've seen of him and what I know of how we want things to go. So I'm really excited for Jeff. He came back. His his off-ice conditioning numbers he's always good in that area, and they were even a little nudge better. And I see him being more, I didn't get to know him and his personality because there was so much stress on him over the couple of years. And I'm starting to see a little bit more personality, which is a real good thing. So I'm excited. I take that as a coaching challenge. I know he has lots of talent. I've seen that. And I want to help him in any way I can, to realize more of that.
And how much of a setback is the Samuelson injury, and just how disappointing is that for you? That sounds like a week-to-week thing.
Yeah, I mean, he got injured in rookie camp, but he played an outstanding game in rookie camp. The guys that were there, he played like a man. I mean, he was a man, and I challenged him over the summertime that he has to. Now he had that game experience. He's got to show it, and he can show it, and he did. So you might think, oh, geez, he got injured in rookie camp. He shouldn't have went to rookie camp. I think the opposite. He showed exactly how he needed to play, and he needs to continue to do that. I think he's going to sit here, and he's already taken his, what he can do for a workout yesterday, the day before. He's taken it way more serious even than he did last year. Not to say he was any slouch, but you can see the difference. And so I'm not worried about him. The ups and downs of a career happen, and it's how you go about it. He can come out of this a better player, I guess, in short, and I expect he will.
Don, you're about to get on the ice with these guys, and you need to focus on the right here, right now. But something that you always kind of touch on is that there is a human element to this Jack Eichel situation. There are guys who are friends with him on the team. You said you've known him since he was 16. How do you grapple with that emotionally and as a human?
It is emotional for me, because I do care about him. And I know what it's like to be a hockey player. You just want to play. It's your life. And right now it's like everything else is in life except the one thing that you really want, and that's your identity as a person. So, I didn't want to get involved with any of that because I didn't want to lose that with the players I coach. And that's important to me. So I don't know the details even, and I don't really care to know the details unless I need to. My job is to push players, and I don't mind caring about the players, and because the guys that go hard, and I do believe he cares. He goes hard, and he carries probably a lot more burden than any of us in this room. Certainly over the last 5 years, and I don't know that I can relate to that. So I do have some compassion for that.
Awesome. Thanks, guys.
No, good. Thank you.